So I wanted to start this review of Luminar 4 with a disclosure that I am an affiliate for Skylum, which means that basically if you purchase the Luminar 4 product using one of my links, I will get a small commission. But having said that, I am going to be completely unbiased with this review for you, so I'm not going to be pulling any punches, put it that way. So what I'm doing here is showing you the images that Skylum have sent me to be used in the review, or just their sample images that they're saying that basically if you don't have any of your own, you feel free to use these. So I wanted to just show you these just so that you're aware of what I'm not going to be using. There's nothing inherently wrong with these images. I just felt like they weren't going to push the AI sky replacement tool to its limits and not test it completely. So these two upper ones, they're all right, I guess, but what I'm going to do for you today is something a little bit more unique and honest, I feel, or I hope, and that's go to unsplash.com, which is a great source of Creative Commons images, the ones that you can use for free. So I'm going to type in here Eiffel Tower and look for an image that I think will be good to kind of test the power of the AI sky replacement tool. So if we scroll down here, I'm just looking for like a landscape orientation image, and this one looks pretty good. Just a shout out to the photographer there, Jad. Great image. I'm going to download this, and obviously this is a JPEG, so normally I would be working with a RAW, but this is, I guess, going to test Luminar a bit further with what it can do with a JPEG file. So I'm just dragging it there onto the Luminar icon, which is a great way to bring in an image to start editing it. If you use Lightroom, you'll know that it's not as easy as that when you drag and drop. Okay, so we've got this image here. I'm just going to zoom in and show you what I mean by challenging this tool. So as you can see, all the gaps in the rungs there, the software is going to try and replace the sky behind those realistically. So let's see how it does. We're going to go into the creative panel and click on AI sky replacement. Wait for a couple of seconds for it to load all of the options. Click on one and bam, there we go. That's pretty amazing. You can see there, yeah, I'm actually happy with this image as it is. I'm just going to show you those before and after. Zoom into the horizon line there, and the software's done a great job of blending everything in. If you can see below where my mouse pointer is, the actual tones and just the color cast, the overall color of the image has changed to suit this new the new sky image in the background, if you will. So that is pretty phenomenal. I'm just going to try and show you, hopefully you can see on your monitor what a great job this has done of filling in all those gaps in between the rungs of the Eiffel Tower. So yeah, I'd be happy with that. But just to show you what else it can do, I'm going to choose a sunset image this time, and yeah, wow. As you can see there, before, after, and this sunset image looks beautiful. It's done a great job of filling in all those gaps. If we zoom into 200% there, you'll see, yeah, that's pretty phenomenal. And yeah, my mind's blown. That's incredible. This is kind of retouching that would take a professional retoucher years to master using Photoshop or similar software. And even then, they'd struggle to get this level of detail. Alright, so we're back in Unsplash. The next thing I'm going to test out is the AI skin enhancer and also the AI portrait enhancer. So I'm just typing in girl. I'm looking for an untouched photo of a girl. It might be a little bit hard. Some of these are pretty processed already, so it might be kind of tough for me to find something that's sort of realistic to work on. Some of these are, I don't want to be disrespectful to any of these photographers, they're all great images, but in my opinion they're a little bit too processed. As you can see there, we've lost all texture in the skin, so I'm just going to keep scrolling down here, and hopefully we come across something which in my opinion is not as retouched already, so that we can bring it into Luminar 4 and see what it's capable of. Okay, so this one looks great. Credit to the photographer there, David, and yeah, it's a great image, and we're going to download this. As you can see, so I'm going to be careful about what I say here, but there are some kind of freckles and blemishes on this lady's face. So I'm just downloaded that to the desktop, and what I will do is just drag it onto the Luminar 4 icon there, and have it load hopefully pretty quickly, and we can start editing it. So yeah, just like Lightroom, when you do open a photo or just open the application in general, it does take a few seconds to kind of boot up. And I'm using like an old MacBook Pro 2015 model, just for your reference. All right, so here we are inside Luminar 4, and I'm just going to have a click around here on the portrait panel. So the AI skin enhancer tool takes a split second there to load up. Just turn it on, and I'm just going to have a play around with the slider here. It might be a little bit difficult to see on your screen, but what's happening here is there's a nice level of kind of the skin texture that's being retained. I see in this edit, if I just toggle it before and after, it's quite a natural edit that Luminar 4's done automatically for you. Some of the freckles, it's hard to tell if they're freckles or like skin blemishes, but some of them have been removed if I just show you the before and after. I guess even a professional retoucher would have trouble deciding or making out whether it's, you know, something that this girl has had from birth, like a, you know, a small mole or a freckle on her face, or if it's like an, you know, acne or another kind of skin blemish. But yeah, if we add some face light, then you can see here how Luminar 4's identified what's her face in this image. There's no need to mask anything if I just toggle it on or off. Yeah, it's done a nice job in just lightening up her face, which I like there. And moving on down, we've got an eye whitening tool. That's not doing that a great job because I think she's got like a little bit of a blue color cast there. The eye enhancer's not really doing much. If I had more time, I'd probably use some kind of split toning to change that. Dark circles removal, maybe not so relevant for this one, so I'm just going to tone that one back down again. Moving down, we've got slim face, so let's see what this does. Okay, there's a tiny bit of a lag there, but yeah, as you can see, all right, so yeah, we're getting into a bit controversial territory there, but as you can see, it's done a great job in slimming her face. I'm not going to comment on which one I prefer, but yeah, we're just going to turn that one off for now. Enlarging eyes, all right, so let's just go a little bit crazy with this just so that you can see what's happening here. Let's max that out, look at that bug eye look. But what's really impressive for me is that Luminar's actually recognizing the features of this girl's face and applying the edits there. So we're on the eyebrow improve tool, which is, I think it's just going to try and thicken them. I can't really see much of a change there. She's already got pretty thick eyebrows. That's kind of nice to see. It's not doing anything if it doesn't think that it needs to be done. So yeah, so again, it's a very natural edit. Lip saturation, you can see there her lips are kind of changing color. Yeah, I don't really like that. Just show you the before and after slider there. Yeah, it's kind of highlighted sort of that inconsistency in the color of a lip. I'm going to turn that off. Lips redness, if I turn that up a bit, yeah, that's kind of that looks nice. I think that looks like, yeah, she's got like a deeper shade of lipstick on. And what else have we got? Teeth whitening. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of that ever. It kind of looks fake to me, so I'm just going to turn that, maybe just keep it around there. And if you just see here the before and after, I guess most apparent to you will be the face light, but there's actually a lot that's gone on there to make this image look a bit better in my opinion. As you can see here, there's other masks that you can dive into if you want a little bit more control over the edits that Luminar 4 has made automatically for you. So what I've done here is selected the brush tool and I've selected erase, and then if I go over and I can paint over the areas, masking them back and bringing back these freckles, or what I consider to be, I guess, the freckles on this girl's face. Whether they are or not is a matter of opinion, but just to show you that you can pull back the things that Luminar 4 has kind of taken away there to your heart's content, and it's doing like a really good job there of sort of bringing back only the areas that it's taken away, so there's no kind of blotchiness to the final image where it's obvious that you can see you know, what the software has done and what you've kind of added and removed. I consider that a really natural edit, and I think we've kept the characteristics of this girl's face as they are, and probably brought back a few of those freckles as well, whilst, you know, lightening her face and a little bit deeper color in that lipstick. But yeah, that's great. There's the final image. All right, so back to Unsplash, and the next thing that I want to test out is the Sunrays AI Sunrays feature. So this is actually a feature from Luminar 3, but it's been improved, I think, a lot for Luminar 4. I'm a huge fan of this. This is amazing. So what I'm doing here in Unsplash, I'm trying to find an image to try and recreate this sort of sun peeking through the back of peeking through the trees look that's so popular. You see this a lot on Instagram. And what I'm looking for here is another landscape orientation image that doesn't have that sun, the rays of the sun poking through, so that we can kind of try and recreate that. Okay, so this one looks good. Shout out to Sebastian there for this great photo. I'm going to download this and open it up in Luminar 4, so you can drag and drop that onto the icon like that, as I do, or import it through the actual program itself. I like to do it like this. It's a lot quicker and easier. So just give it a second for Luminar 4 to kind of analyze the image, and now we're ready to click on the Sunrays panel. So clicking that place sun center button, and then you need to remember to actually, turn the slider on. And as you can see already, just as a little caveat here, I am using a screen recording software, which is why there's a little bit of lag when I drag this cursor, but on my computer there's no lag whatsoever. The sun follows it perfectly. The important thing here to note is how the sun, when it goes behind an object, the rays are actually, they're not coming through, and when there's no object in front of it, they're coming through. So it's just really realistically showing how the sun would pass through this kind of foliage, and it's doing this. I find this incredible. Like it's a 2D photo, but it's treating it as if it was three-dimensional. So if we click on the advanced settings here and just have a play around, you can change the warmth of the sun. You can change the radius, the glow radius, the number of sun rays. There's loads of things that you can have a play around with. I like that actually. And just looking at the before and the after, and that's done a really good job of I've matched the tone, I guess, of the rest of the image. But if we have a closer look at what this tool is actually doing here, when we zoom in, you can see how the sun's rays are wrapping around these objects as they probably would do in real life. Just giving this really realistic finish to the image. There you go, you can see the sun's rays that are passing kind of in front and around this tree, but being blocked by the other trees nearer where the sun center would be. So yeah, that's the final image, and I'm pretty happy with that. So there's the before and after. All right, so what we're going to do to take this a step further, we're going to go back into Unsplash, and I want to find an image that already has the sun's rays passing through trees. So this one looks like a good candidate. Thank you again. Is that Daniel? Yeah, I'm trying to see his name, but another great photo. And I'm going to drag and drop that into Luminar. And it's hard to tell really if this is a real image or one that's been created by Luminar. Like, that's where we are at with the image post-processing here. But there we go. So I've placed the sun into the image, and as you can see, it's done a great job already of the rays coming through the tree gaps. I'm just going to add some warmth, try and match it to the existing sun, and we're just going to have a bit of fun here. Like I said before, this lag is due to the screen recording software. It's quite CPU intensive. But if I just drag this around, it's like you're playing Mother Nature here, placing the sun in the image. I just find that phenomenal. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it right on top of the original sun there, and just tweak it a little bit, adjust the intensity, the number of rays, that kind of thing, and just try and make it look realistic as possible. I'm just going to drop that warmth down a little bit, and drop that down as well, just to try and match the overall tones of the image. There you go, before and after. Looks pretty damn good, and it's funny to see how those rays are actually following the rays of the initial sun in there, which I find phenomenal. Okay, so then we go to export and click the export button just to get the JPEG out, and this is going to take a second or two, and hopefully we'll be left with that on my desktop. So if we just get out of here, and there's the before and there's the after. Let's just load them both up. All right, so that was the original image, and this was my added sun image. So All right, so now I've shown you what a couple of these AI tools can do. We're going to take a step back and look at the actual how the file management is handled in Luminar 4. So what I'm going to do here is kind of start from the beginning, as you would if you were to purchase this software and load it up from scratch. So I'm starting a new test catalog here. Going to hit save, and there are three ways that you can add photos to this. My preference is to add a folder to start with. So I'm just going to come into here. This is an external, not a solid state hard drive, so it is going to be a little bit slower. But I'm just going to go into one of my personal folders here of images shot in 2019, and I'm just going to hit import. And yeah, that's pulled them in pretty quickly considering it's a slow hard drive. Obviously, the number of images that's going to change the speed in which it does imports. But what's happening here in the file system is it's divided up those imported images by the year and the day that they were shot. So I kind of like the way that it's sort of segmented, separated all of them out like that for me without me having to do anything. It's kind of a bit like the iPhone, how it does that and just separates all the photos by date. All right, so what I'm going to do here is just show you one of these images and make just a real quick edit to it, just to show you what happens with the file management. So I'm just going to whack another sky into this one. Let's see what it does. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty horrible, but anyway, let's go back to the library, and then you can see here there's a recently edited sort of a smart folder that's created, and I've just edited that one photo, so there's obviously just one in there, but if you edit a few, then this is a really useful way to kind of automatically go back to where you were editing before. And these are albums. These are kind of like collections in Lightroom, where it's sort of a virtual folder. So you can create as many of these as you want, name them whatever you want to, and then drag and drop images into there from the other folders. And as they're a virtual organization method, anything that you kind of add or delete. So here I am just dragging and dropping one on, or let's just grab a few more, and it's that easy just to pull them over into there like you would do in Windows or in your Mac File Explorer. When you delete these, they don't delete from your computer or from Luminar, they just delete from that virtual folder. So that's a nice way. That's to organize your photos. Those are the albums. Okay, and then moving down here into the folders, I just want to show you what's going on. This is my the RAID drive where I pulled in those initial images, so inside personal 2019. And if we go in here, you can just see that that's a mirror of that folder. So with Luminar, it creates a mirrored image of the hierarchy of the folders that you're importing. If I were to pull that one over, it would create this hierarchy of all those different years underneath there. So this is like a really simple, what you see is what you get view of how your photos are organized, which is kind of in stark contrast to Lightroom. I find Lightroom really confusing with how it works with the file organization and everything. Obviously I've been using it for some time, so I'm used to it, but I think for beginners that is a source of confusion. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is just grab one of these images just to show you can pull it out of the folder, or you can pull it out from the desktop just like I've been doing in the rest of this review, and have it load almost immediately into Luminar 4. It does take a couple of seconds for those AI tools to load and be ready. This will depend on the kind of computer you're using. As I said before, this is a 2015 MacBook Pro, so a few years old. It's i7, 16 gigabytes of RAM, so yeah, you might be using something faster. But I just edit that really quickly just to show you that it appears in that recently edited folder there. And any image that you drag in like that without creating a folder first will appear in a single image edits folder. So this is another one that automatically appears when you start bringing in your photos like that. So just to show you in contrast what Lightroom does if you're not familiar when you try and drag and drop an image in. This is a source of confusion, like I said, for beginners especially. So if you drag something to your Lightroom catalog there, then you're greeted with this confusing screen which shows like a muddled folder structure that Lightroom assumes is your what's going on your computer. You've got to copy as DNG, copy, and move or add. So immediately it's a little bit confusing as to how to get the image into Lightroom, and here you can see on the left, it only kind of shows the folders that you have brought in via Lightroom. So it doesn't show you a mirrored hierarchy of how your computer is. And this is pretty confusing even now for me. When you do move images inside Lightroom, it's fine, but as soon as you start moving them outside of Lightroom on your computer, it doesn't mirror automatically and you get this warning. One thing Lightroom is great at is keywording, adding metadata. Here you can see all my different cameras that I've used and whatnot. This is great for finding images. So Luminar will be adding these metadata, different keywording options, but as of now there aren't that many. I'm just going to click on an image that I shot a while ago on a Fuji X-H1. Just to show you the process of taking an image from Lightroom into Luminar. So this is, I'm just going to show you the before and after in the develop module of Lightroom. So there you go, that's some information about this image. I shot a raw file and there's the before, there's the after. So you can see I haven't really done much work to it. I've just kind of increased the exposure a little bit and played with the contrast. But then if I go to edit in and choose edit in Luminar 4, and I will open this up as a PSD, and you can just see the workflow of taking one image from Lightroom into Luminar, which is what I plan to do now to use these powerful AI tools in Luminar. Okay, so this is loaded up, and once again we're just going to wait a couple of seconds for these looks. You can see at the bottom there the looks panel to load up, and B for the actual AI tools to load up. But I like these aerial looks, so these are actually meant for drone photos, but I find these really good for giving a lot of punch to the image. That's a little bit overdone. Let's try this one. That's just, yeah, it's kind of recolored the image as well, but let's go back to the one that I thought was overdone and reduce the intensity of the look. So like I said, this is kind of like a preset in Lightroom. If we just bring that down, there's a tiny little bit of lag there, but yeah, I'm really liking that edit. And what's that taking? All of 5 seconds to do. There's the before and the after, and then this is the best bit. So if I take you to back to Lightroom, so you just hit the apply button there, and then give it a few seconds to sort itself out. Lightroom's doing its job here, trying to pull in that new PSD, and where's it gone? There you go. So it's right next to the image that I edited initially, or brought into Lightroom. So there you go, that's the old image and there's the new image. So yeah, I really like being able to use Lightroom for some things and Luminar for other things, taking advantage of the strengths of both softwares.